I'm hard pressed to see how we're not at 100K by the end of calendar 2024. And I think this cycle takes us to 200 or 300K. I'm absolutely certain this is going to be 200K, and then someday it's going to be $1 million, someday it's going to be 2 million, someday it's going to be 8 million per coin. I'm talking that. Like the hedge funds that are short this stuff, they're about to have a deeply religious experience. I mean, they don't understand. They don't understand that this shit can go up, 50, 100, 150% in months. Well, I don't think anybody's missed the boat. I mean, I think we're still very much in the early days, and it's going to 10x and that's going to 10x again. You don't want to screw this call up. I mean, your progeny are going to hate you if you knew about this shit and you didn't buy it. I mean, they're just going to absolutely hate you, and they're going to think you're a legend if you sacrificed and sacrificed, didn't buy that expensive car and bought a whole coin instead, because that whole coin is going to be worth 10 million bucks. Not that far out, by the way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Lepard expresses a strong belief in Bitcoin's long-term potential, projecting a price of $100,000 by the end of 2024 and even higher figures of $200,000 or $300,000 in subsequent cycles. He acknowledges the possibility of short-term corrections, but emphasizes a multi-year perspective, urging investors to focus on the bigger picture. He shares a personal anecdote about considering selling other assets to buy more Bitcoin when its price dips, underscoring his confidence in its long-term value. One of the key points Lepard makes is about the network effect and the natural progression of Bitcoin's growth. He envisions Bitcoin reaching a value of $2 million or even $8 million per coin in the future. This belief stems from the concept of Bitcoin as a network that will continue to expand and increase in value as more people adopt it. Lepard advises people not to be deterred by current prices, as the potential for future appreciation is substantial. He argues that paying $60,000 or $70,000 per Bitcoin now will seem like a bargain in the years to come when its value has multiplied many times over. Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
It can come out of the blue. I mean, we all know how this thing happens. I mean, the thing that's so wild about this asset is the way that it can really move and move fast. And that's why I say, like the hedge funds that are short this stuff, they're about to have a deeply religious experience. I mean, they don't understand. They don't understand that this shit can go up, 50, 100, 150% in months, and so, I mean, you're going to see those shorts are going to get covered so goddamn fast. And so I know Samson, I really like him a lot. He says $1 billion, within a year. I sure hope he's right. I don't think he is, but, I'm hard pressed to see how we're not at 100K by the end of calendar 2024. And I think this cycle takes us to 200 or 300K. And maybe at that point in time, we're a little overbought and, we come back around, come back down a bit, but, it doesn't, I'm thinking so kind of multi-year that the ups and downs of the months, and it's just like, in fact, I saw the 60 and I thought to myself, maybe I have something else I could sell. I thought, maybe I should sell that and go grab this right now. I think if it goes to 50, I'm definitely doing that. I'm selling this other asset. So, because it's crazy cheap at these levels in my view. I'm absolutely certain this is going to be 200K, and then someday it's going to be $1 million, someday it's going to be 2 million, someday it's going to be 8 million per coin. I'm talking that because that's just the natural progression of, the growth of a network. And so, that's why I'm pounding the table just to, and people getting into it, they think, well, I'm paying too much. I have a friend who's very, very wealthy, and, he knows my average cost is quite low. And, you just can't bear to pay 60 or 70 grand. I said, look, it doesn't matter. I paid, I don't know, whatever I paid. In the thousands for probably as an average. But, Max Kaiser was paying $2. And I don't regret Max. I just recognize that, someday my average cost is going to seem incredibly cheap to somebody who's paying $2 million a coin. So it's just, it's Sailor's point. I mean, it's going up forever, Laura. I mean, and so I mean, you can either decide, you're going to buy it eventually. People don't realize that. Everybody's going to buy this eventually. I don't think anyone realizes, or I don't think a lot of people realize that. So you might as well buy it now versus waiting and having to pay a lot more for it in the future. Well, I don't think anybody's missed the boat. I mean, I think we're still very much in the early days, and it's going to 10x and that's going to 10x again. So, I mean, from an investing point of view, you don't want to miss something that's going to go up 100x and maybe 1,000x if you talk 15, 20 years out. So I don't think, and point one is going to be a meaningful amount to have. I mean, it's being a whole coiner is going to be an enormous deal in a few years. And so, I don't think you missed the boat. I mean, I think you've got to understand, what's going on here and the way this can continue to compound in value. I mean, everybody is going to need Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to be the monetary standard of the next, millennium. And so it's kind of like, Jesus, I mean, here you are, you've got a chance to buy this 15 years in for something that could last hundreds, if not 1,000 plus years. I mean, you're not too late. You're really not too late. So my view is, buy what you can, forget about it, and, sit back and enjoy the fact that in Bitcoin terms, you're going to get, in fiat terms, you're going to get richer and richer as Bitcoin becomes more and more of a replacement for fiat, because it's just a much better form of money. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, some people think, well, it's this magic internet money or whatever it is, or you guys are all a cult, or it's a bubble, or no, it's none of those things. This is a technical innovation. This is the invention of provable digital scarcity. And so, I love the way, Saylor in some of his recent talks, he's talked about how, inventions happen and then they change the world, and they don't, you can't go back. How much better they're going to be if they do adopt this versus if they don't. I mean, you don't want to screw this call up. I mean, your progeny are going to hate you if you knew about this shit and you didn't buy it. I mean, they're just going to absolutely hate you, and they're going to think you're a legend if you, sacrificed and sacrificed, didn't buy that expensive car and bought a whole coin instead, because that whole coin is going to be worth $10 million. Not that far out, by the way. I mean, it's, so to me, it's all pretty obvious. And yet, most people are asleep at the switch and they don't see it, or their biases are preventing them from buying it. And I get it. I mean, that's the way things get adopted. But, the earlier you adopt this, the better off you'll be.
Lawrence Lepard also discusses the importance of educating others about Bitcoin. He mentions conversations with wealthy friends who are hesitant to invest due to the current price levels. Lepard encourages them to think long-term and to understand the profound potential of Bitcoin. He believes that everyone will eventually need to own Bitcoin, and that buying it now, even at higher prices, is a wise decision. Lepard highlights the significance of Bitcoin ETFs exchange-traded funds as a positive development for the market. He explains that ETFs provide institutional investors with easier access to Bitcoin, thereby increasing its adoption and driving its price higher. Despite short-term fluctuations, Lepard remains confident in Bitcoin's upward trajectory and advises investors to stay focused on the long-term potential.
The ETFs are an enormous positive development. They really are. They give a lot of money access to the asset, and even today, I mean, the assets, I mean, I think it was down to 60, high 50s, 60. Look, it's still up, I don't know, 40% for the year. I mean, it's not like it's a disaster. I mean, a year ago this was 30, and a year before that it was 16. So, it's still kind of working, and it's going to continue to work. And so, I think the short-term swings aren't that relevant. I mean, I don't know why the price is where it is today. I don't really watch that sort of stuff that much. I mean, certainly the Mt. Gox coins are a possibility. I would think, I've noticed there've been a lot of hedge funds that are short it. I think they're going to get their faces ripped off. I also think that one explanation that was given to me, and I think this might make some sense, is that, the halving just occurred not that far ago, a couple months ago, and the miners, their reward was cut in half. And some of them had Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and some of them probably aren't making much money right now or having cash flow issues. And so I think the miners are probably in a situation where the marginal ones are having to sell the coins they've got to keep the lights on. And they're just hoping that the price is going to go higher, but it hasn't yet. And, and we saw the hash rate dip a bit, not hugely, but somewhat. I would have thought it would have gone down more. And I'm guessing that there are probably some miners that are operating uneconomically right now that haven't quite thrown in the towel yet. They're leaving the machines on because they're thinking, well, it's going to come back up. And until we get kind of that capitulation and they say, oh, fuck it, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm turning these machines off. Hash goes down a bit more. Yeah, I've seen numbers of closer to 50 million millionaires, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, 21 million coins, 50 million millionaires, everyone can't have one coin. I mean, it's really rather stunning to me. And by the way, I mean, arguably, the people who bought a little while ago at 15,000, boy, did they get a deal, because I was paying 15,000 in 2017. And, we hadn't had the fork wars. So many of the obvious risks that existed have been taken out of it. As Sailor points out, one of the big risks that just disappeared is, the U.S. government's going to seize it. Now, that could change in the future. They could change their views as they realize how existential this is. But for now, anyway, they've said, and maybe they did this because they want to have it all inside their corral so they can grab all the ETFs. I mean, that's a conspiracy theory, but it might be logical. But, but for now, anyway, they basically just said, yeah, it's legal. I mean, I used to talk to a lot of my friends and they'd say, I'm not going to do that. The government's going to kill it. Oh, really? Well, then why did they just approve the ETF? Now, which isn't to say that in the future there won't be a battle on this topic. There might be, but, it's encouraging that we're making a lot of progress. And I'm not a big fan of all the other cryptocurrencies, but I do like the fact that the people in those cryptocurrencies are making a lot of noise the way we are. And isn't it interesting that, we were able to get Trump to kind of endorse the notion of being, pro-Bitcoin, recognizing there was a voting block there. And then, of course, Biden had to respond. So, we're obviously getting to the point where enough people are in this stuff that, it's a political block now. And politicians, there's one thing for sure, they want, and that's votes. And, if we've got a lot of votes and a lot of people make a lot of noise, it could have an impact. There's always the technological threat. I mean, I think there's, it's not zero, which is why I always say gold is a CDS on Bitcoin. But I'm pretty confident that it's technically sound and that after 800 and some odd thousand blocks and, 15 years, we're kind of in the clear there. I don't really know. I mean, look, the only thing that I think I used to say that there were two threats. One, technology that, it would fail in some way, but like I say, I think we're through that one mostly, if not completely. And then the other thing I would say is that, if people were ever to suddenly lose interest in it and just decide they didn't want to do it anymore or kind of walk away from it, it got boring or whatever, that would maybe not be a good thing. But I don't see that happening. I don't see any evidence of that. I mean, I see adoption is increasing, hash rate is increasing, investment in the space is increasing, users are increasing, wallets are, all of it. So, absent a severe change, this goes back to my earlier comment about dogs eating the food. I mean, there are a lot of dogs eating the food and there are more dogs coming to the party.
Lepard mentions the potential for regulatory changes and technological threats. However, he expresses confidence in Bitcoin's resilience and technological robustness. He believes that Bitcoin has overcome many of the early risks and that its decentralized nature makes it a strong and secure asset. Lepard concludes his talk by reiterating the importance of patience and long-term thinking. He urges investors to buy and hold Bitcoin, emphasizing that short-term price swings are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. He believes that Bitcoin's adoption will continue to grow, driving its value higher and creating significant wealth for those who invest early and hold on through the volatility. Please like and subscribe my channel.